Doomsday is approaching. On November 28th, Magic the Gathering's 30th Collector's Edition releases for general sale to the public. But already, ahead of that, we already have a Mox Pearl, one of the Power 9, the white piece of jewellery, selling on eBay last week on November 14th for $3,050 US. Where did this come from? Why are people paying money for it? And why do I think they're fucking stupid for doing so? All that and more in today's video. If you want to support the show, check out the link in the description below to coolstuffinc.com. Use the code KENOBI at checkout or a link to get 5% off your order and to support the channel. Or Patreon. Use Patreon. There's a link down there as well. For $2 a month, you get a free shipping and an exclusive Ultimate sleeve every month and access to the Discord server. This month's sleeve is the real Blasphemous Act. So for those of you that don't know, a real quick summary of what the Magic the Gathering 30th Collector's Edition is. It is 4 boosters, that's 4 singular packs of 15 cards for $1,000. If you've been out of the loop and that sounds ludicrous, that's because it really fucking is. It's the most expensive product they've ever released, and I personally think it's fucking gross. Each pack is randomized cards, and it's basically a reproduction of Beta, the second print run of the first edition of Magic. And that means you can get all the rares that were in Beta. That means you can get a Black Lotus or an Underground Sea. All the Power 9 is in there, and some people were opening these at MTG30, the event in Vegas, only a few weeks ago. And someone obviously opened a Mox Pearl, they got it graded by CGC as quickly as humanly possible, and they got it onto eBay, and it sold for $3,000. For the record, a Mint 9 condition CGC of the original Collector's Edition, a much older and probably lower print run product, only sold for $1,000 back in September. And if you wanted an unlimited at 8.5 with 9.5 corners, and unlimited, which is again going to be a lower print one, I'd assume, that sold back in October for $4,138 US. That means somebody bought the Mox Pearl from the collector's boosters, believing that it was worth more than the original Collector's Edition print runs, and only a smidgen less than the fucking unlimited ones. I do not know what the fuck is going on. Or at least, I don't know for sure. I've got some theories. I do not believe that this is actually worth that. Now, before somebody gets into the comment section, or if they want to do this, they still can, and tells me things are worth what people will pay for them, sure, you just fucking knock yourself out. If I told you that, do I have a playing card here? Here I have a Sivirus Nightmare Speaker. It's the adventure book D&D sleeve, and a styling, sorry, and the back of it's got like a white paint on it where I've used it to mask off a thing when I've been airbrushing a Warhammer model. If I told you this was super duper rare and stuck on eBay and some fucking idiot bought it for £1,000, it doesn't really mean it's worth £1,000. There's a lot of philosophical conversations to be had around what are things worth, they're worth what you pay for it, all that sort of stuff. I know, I get it. I'm not going to go to deep financial philosophy, I guess, about this. But the point I'm trying to get at is that just because someone tells you something is worth money, it doesn't mean it actually is. Like NFTs, for example. And that's kind of what this fucking shit is. This stuff is, it's kind of scammy. It's kind of NFT-y in a way. And I've got a further point to that a little bit later. So first of all, there's a lot of hype around this product. Or let's say, it's a lot of bad air, actually. Barring perhaps Brian Kibler and a handful of other people, most people think this product is fucking shit. Or at least most people in the vocal online spaces, whether that be people who are active on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube comment sections, content creators like myself. It's very rare to actually see someone be positive about this. Even the investment bros and people like Rudy, this is not shade on Rudy, by the way, but they don't seem to like this product either. It marks a huge change by Wizards. It marks that they weren't honest in the past, or if they've changed their attitudes entirely. They told us in the past they would not reprint reserve list stuff, and now they are. Although, the bit I missed out at the beginning story for those catching up, is that these are reserve list reprints of Black Lotuses and Mox Pearls, but they're not tournament legal. They actually have this card back. They have a gold bordered back with collector written on it, meaning they're not legal in a tournament. You can't play them in Vintage, for example. Although ultimately, let's be honest, Power 9 doesn't get played anyway. But the main thing there is the dual lands and Legacy, let's say. They're not meant to be played with, which makes them basically proxies. Just far more expensive than any other proxy or playtest card you could produce yourself or buy online through potentially nefarious means. The fact they're proxies, by the way, for those of you who don't know, means that like the official subreddit for Magic, and by official I mean it's the main one, it's not officially endorsed, but they changed their rules on proxies. You can now openly discuss the use of proxies, where before it would get you banned. Yeah, this product has been such a seismic shift in how Wizards performs and acts that other communities are changing their attitudes towards proxying. Only yesterday did we see Wizards of the Coast do a cease and desist on a website that was being used to create proxies. The first time we've seen this in a while. Supposedly there are some other instances in it. This will probably be a separate video at some point, maybe, or if I can't be asked, it won't be. Anyway. So this card sold for $3,000. Now, the packs themselves are really fucking expensive, so that's going to have a knock-on effect on what the stuff inside is worth. But ultimately, I don't think a lot of the stuff in there is going to be worth anything. It's only the moxon, the power, and the duels that are going to draw any attention because they're iconic or playable in Commander, I guess. But you've got to think, this is not a limited print run set from 30 years ago like it is with Alpha or Beta or Unlimited or Revised. This isn't a collector's edition that came out back in 1996 or anything like that, or whenever, I forget what fucking year the collector's edition came out. I had it on my notes somewhere, whatever. It's not an old product that is limited in run. This is a new thing that they've popped out in as many runs as they want. Or as many runs, as much printing as they want. We don't actually know how much of this product there is. They will sell out probably because they know what their market demand probably is because they're very clever with that sort of thing. But we don't know how many packs there are. They're probably never going to tell us. There is an argument that perhaps it's a limited print one than any of that stuff. It could be super, super limited. But I just don't believe that's the case. If it is, I'll eat my hat. I don't really wear hats, but I'll eat it anyway. It's a modern product that they are doing for the 30th anniversary of Magic. But it's going to make them pretty big sums of money, right? If you start to do the math, $1,000 per product, let's say they sell 10,000 of them. That's a lot. That's $10 million. Not profit, obviously, but a large portion is going to be profit. Like per pack sold, they must make like $999 of profit, I'm assuming. I'm assuming the profit margin on these things is huge. Because once the pre-production is done, bearing in mind there's been no developers to pay to make a new set, right? It's just an old set being templated. The margins are going to be massive. So even if only 10,000 of this product is available, which I assume is actually a low number, they're making silly amounts, millions, on one product they could just fucking fire off. So that brings me to my first point, that's kind of like NFTs, in the sense that people are going to buy up the duels and the power on eBay for silly amounts of money and on the secondary market. And then what's stopping Wizards just doing this again? In the past, they've said that it was against the reserve list, or the spirit of the reserve list, to do this. And now they've broke that and they've done this. And if it makes them tens or hundreds of millions, they're going to do it again. They're going to put, maybe we won't see Mox Pearl for a while, but maybe we'll see Arabian Nights or Legends or something else that has very expensive cards in it, templated into the modern border, and then sold to us in really expensive gambling loot boxes like this, or seeded into other packs to sell it at a premium. Collector boosters pricing goes up, and they stick in a 1 in a million chance of opening a new border fucking Bazaar in Baghdad or some shit. I genuinely do not believe that if this is as profitable as it's going to be, that Hasbro will leave that money on the table. This will happen again. And if they reprint actual, like the stuff that people are now going to pay money for, like this Mox, that means that this Mox probably won't hold its value like you think it will. The reason that reserve list cards hold their value is because they're never getting reprinted. They are beginning to crash in value because of this and other factors too, the economic climate and similar. So it's kind of like hot potato in a way, right? Who holds onto the hot potato the longest burns their hands, right? Who's left holding the hot potato burns their hands. People are going to buy this up now, sell on the expensive cards that they crack and open like this person has. No, not blaming them necessarily. And then the people who have it in 5 years' time, after they print in Mox Pearl another 6 times in New Border, is fucked, because the price of it will go down. These are not the collectible items from 30 years ago that do sell for this kind of money. I don't believe Wizards can just fucking magic this shit out of thin air. However, I might not believe that, but others may do so. Hell, this sold for $3,000. So there's a perception that this is going to be worth money. And perhaps perception is reality. It doesn't matter if it's not a limited print one of an old set that we're never going to see again. That's actually a new thing they printed literally last week to make some money. That doesn't matter, because Mox Pearl and Black Lotus, they have a prestige to their name that generates clicks and generates a cash sum. There's a weird hype around this as well that I've seen a little bit online. This is the Mox Pearl that is sold. Imagine what the Sapphire will go for. Imagine what the Lotus will go for. And do the old border ones bring even a further premium, because every card's available in old border on a chance as well. So this might just be the tip of the iceberg. And that leads me to my third and final point about the cost of these cards, is that this is one of them on eBay. They're from a regular common seller, Kid Icarus. I don't know them. I don't really buy or sell on eBay at all, but I'm aware that they are known, a known entity. But like, I'm not saying this has happened, but there's a good potential that people have hammed up this sale, right? They've gone in there and they've scam bidded, right? Not necessarily the person selling it. You know, when people go in and they bid and bid and bid and push the price up and the final person buys it. And the point is, you try and get the final person to buy it to not be you. You're doing it on other accounts or whatever. I'm not saying the seller of this did this. They could have done. That's one option. There's also the option that people who have got a vested interest in these things being expensive may have also done this. Collaborated to do this. Because if this sells for this, it sets a precedent. It generates news and clicks. And I want to be the one that when I generate the news and the clicks from it, a little bit late, I'll admit, but I've been pretty fucking depressed, so I haven't made as many videos as I probably should have done. I want to point out that we probably shouldn't spend this fucking money on brand new shit coming out of products that everyone hates. Like, honestly, if you're buying these, what the fuck are you doing? If you have a shit ton of money, it's a collectible to you. If you are the NFL players of this world buying this stuff, I get it. This doesn't matter to you, right? But if you are a player who cannot afford to dump this kind of money on collectible shit, do not think that you're making the bang for your buck right now. These things will probably not be this expensive in future. They are not the new reserve list. They can be reprinted at any time with this gold back. This is not the gold mine. You've not found the gold fields. You're getting in early in the oil fields. I'd be very, very, very cautious about this shit for the future as a collectible item that's going to hold its value. So the whole thing stinks to me. It smells fishy. I don't like it. I don't like the product itself. I don't like the idea that supposedly you can now crack a pack and get a £3,000 new card in it. That can't, $3,000, sorry. That can't play in tournaments anyway. It just doesn't, none of it adds up. As someone who's been playing Magic for a very, very long time and had to explain to new players how cards gain value from being extremely rare versions, the Red Hidetsugu, for example, for collectors, through to tournament staples and stuff, then having to explain to them that actually this is not a tournament staple, nor is it potentially that rare, considering how many of these might get opened, it becomes very weird. It feels off. It has a gut feeling that feels very, very off. And it's probably not the first time we're going to see this. Sorry, it is the first time, but it's probably not the last. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think one more base for this? Do you think this thing's actually worth $3,000? Do you see these things going up in price? Do you really think Wizards won't print these again in some form of other anniversary, collector's edition thing, or as a hype piece and an expensive booster? Secret Lair Fetchland edition. Imagine that, but it's the Power 9. They can do that now. They said they never would, but they can do that now. How much would the Power 9 in gold border in a Secret Lair be sold by Wizards? $5,000? 10 grand? Because these secondary market sales support that shit. They can pretend it's worth that when it definitely fucking is. I've been Vince, also PleasantKenobi on the internet. This whole thing is kind of weirdly depressing about Magic, if I'm honest. The game's becoming a bit of a farce. But I'm here to commentate on it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.